So you may be aware that public speaking is one of the highest paid professions on planet Earth. But what I wanted to do with you is explain exactly why that is the case. Because quite often when people find out how much money, right, people actually earn from professional speaking, they can't fathom it. They just find the amount unfathomable. And what I mean by unfathomable is that they simply cannot comprehend how it's possible to generate the kind of income because they can't do the calculation. So in their brain, they can't work out the maths that a lot of these professional speakers generate in very short amounts of time. And I remember the very first time I ever met a professional speaker, and they mentioned to me that they went from earning $60,000 a year, right, to making $60,000 in a day, and I couldn't even comprehend, like, how is that possible, right? I mean, how the heck does somebody earn $60,000 in a single day? Like, my brain just couldn't understand, right? So back when I first heard this, I was working in recruitment, and when I thought about my annual salary, right, which was about $120,000 a year as a base, and then I had some on-target earnings. If I hit all of the metrics required and I got a bonus, then maybe I'd be super lucky and make about $200,000. And I was doing 90-hour weeks, right, to be able to deliver. And for me, I just couldn't work out how it's possible that I'm sitting here working my butt off, right, day in, day out, clocking all of these hours, and I can barely, if I'm super lucky, make $200,000 in a year. I mean, if I really, really, really pushed it, and here's this person saying they're making $60,000 in a day. And for me, I found that most years I barely scraped through the $120K, most years. But here is this person who is making this $60,000 a day. Like, I don't get it. And the reason that I couldn't fathom it is because, or the fact that I couldn't comprehend it, is because I didn't understand scale and leverage, which I want to share with you in a moment. But because I couldn't comprehend it, because I couldn't fathom it, my brain immediately convinced me that that person was lying. My brain just says, well, they're lying. They don't make $60,000 in a day. They're lying. And so in my brain, I'm saying to myself, you're just making this stuff up. It's all a load of rubbish. And that's the sad truth about what our brain does. When we can't comprehend something, when we can't fathom something, we often just deem it to be a lie because it's easier for us to tell ourselves it's just a lie. And this is a very important thing that you need to keep in mind. When people share with you genuine successes and genuine achievements that are possible, be very careful of your mind just saying to yourself, that's a lie. So one of the things that I want to do, or perhaps one of the things that you want to test yourself with or stretch yourself with, is start learning how to comprehend things that are incomprehensible. And there's a great question that helps you with that. And the question is, how can I fathom the unfathomable? How can I fathom the unfathomable? And one of the easiest ways to fathom the amount of money that this speaker was earning was just by adding up the maths. And so I began the process. Now, when I first heard it, that this person had made $60,000 in a day, I did the maths incorrectly, right? So I did the maths incorrectly, and then it became even more unfathomable. So what I did was I based it on an hourly rate, right? And so I'm like, all right, an hourly rate, okay. So I said, all right. If you are doing about 6 hours of work a day with a lunch break from your professional presenting, then you're getting $10,000 an hour, right, to speak, just to talk. And I'm thinking to myself, who gets paid $10,000 an hour, let alone just to talk, right? Like, even lawyers don't get paid $10,000 an hour. Doctors don't get paid $10,000 an hour. Like, I don't know anyone that gets paid $10,000 an hour. So, I mean, how can a human being possibly be paid $10,000 an hour? And again, the reason it wasn't making sense is because I'd done the mathematics in what's called an unleveraged way. So I had done the mathematics, but in a way that wasn't leveraged. I did all the mathematics based on time for money. But this is not what professional speakers get paid for. Listen to this. Professional speakers get paid for impact and the amount of people they impact at the same time. I'm going to say it again. Professional speakers don't get paid time for money. They get paid for impact and the amount of people they're able to impact at the same time. So what they actually end up earning is something known as a leveraged income. So a leveraged income is where you provide value to more people at the same time. And this is really important for you to understand. Until you sort of get out there on a platform and you start speaking to groups of people or what we call one-to-many delivery, it's almost impossible to fathom leveraged income. So leveraged income is what a lot of people actually use in order to make, $100,000 a year as a presenter. And so if you're sitting there and you're like, okay, Ben, I kind of get what you're saying. I speak to more people at the same time. I'm having a bigger impact on more people's lives. I'm getting a leveraged income. Well, Ben, I want to make $100,000 a year as a presenter. So how do I achieve that with this thing called leveraged income? I want to show you right now. So let's just say that you want to make $100,000 a year talking to groups of people about what you love, right? So you want to make $100,000 a year using leveraged income. Remember, if you try to work out what I'm about to say using sort of time for money, then it's not going to make a lot of sense. So if you try to work out how does someone earn $60,000 in a day with time for money, you're going to drive yourself insane, right? You're just going to drive yourself insane. So don't do it. But if you try to work it out, how does someone earn $60K in a day by using a leveraged income, it becomes a lot easier. So I want to tell you this statistic to sort of make it clear for you. And I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but it sounds pretty interesting. And the statistic is that if you bump into any billionaire walking down the street and they drop $25,000 cash out of their back pocket, so $25,000 cash falls out of their pocket and lands on the ground. If they are to take 8 more steps, and then realize, right, that $25,000 cash is no longer in their pocket, like they realize that they dropped the money, and they turn around, they see the money lying on the ground 8 steps away, right? That's it. 25 grand's just over there. They've only done 8 short steps. It's actually no longer worth them walking back to pick it up. So if you're wondering, do people make $60,000 in a day? The answer is yes. Yes, they do. In fact, there are people out there that make significantly more than $60,000 in a day. They make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in a day, but they do it based on leverage income. So I want to show you now, as a presenter, how you can go and make $100,000, right, using a leveraged income. And if you want to earn $100,000 a year, there are a couple of ways that you can actually look at doing that. And there are 2 core ways that we would suggest that you do. So you can do it as a paid speaker, where you walk up to events and you present and share a message, like a keynote presentation at a company or a corporation of some kind, and you get paid a one-off fee for that presentation. Now, in Australia, for example, the fees that are being paid for keynote presenters range, on average, anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 for roughly a 45 to 90-minute presentation. So between $2,000 to $10,000 for a 45-minute talk. In fact, one of the clients that we've worked with gets paid $37,500 every single time they present their talk. And their talk's only 40 minutes long. So I don't know about you, but that's pretty good money, right? That's pretty good money for just talking about what you love if you can get it to work. But the thing is, he's presenting not to one person. When he's presenting to entire organizations. So when he delivers that 40-minute presentation, you realize it's not one-on-one. It's quite often him talking to 300 people. So when he gets paid the speaking fee of $37,500, you can appreciate that that's because he's impacting the lives of hundreds of people in this 40-minute talk. So it all works out because of the number of people he's impacting at the same time. So Keynote Presentations is a great way of doing it. And as I said, you want to just keep in mind the amount that people are able to achieve from doing this. Now, if you put it in perspective, right? So you want to go down the Keynote path and you're charging anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, obviously the amount you charge has to do with the impact. It has to do with how good you are, right? It has to do with what you talk about. It has to do with your sort of presence in that market, how impactful the message is, and how you sort of present your presenting skills, like how you communicate that to a company. So when you meet the company for the first time, you got to realize you got to present an offer of your keynote presentation and the skills that accompany it. So let me just say it like this. If you think about it, right, let's just say that you have a $10,000 keynote presentation. Well, if you want to hit this magical figure of $100,000, you've only got to do 10 of those per year. So it works out like one talk a month. That's it. One talk a month, one 40-minute talk a month at $10,000 a talk, and there you've made your $100,000. So if you charge like $5,000 for your presentation, then obviously you understand you've got to do 20 talks per annum. And you end up at that $100,000 a year. And of course, if you're down at the very bottom, very average skills, just starting out, pretty average sort of keynote presentation, then you're still going to make around $2,000 per talk. And of course, if you do the maths on that, if you do like one talk a week, then there's your $100,000. So to get to $100,000 as a keynote presenter, it's pretty easy once you actually start to do the maths. So the second way that I want to share with you is doing workshops. So another way that you can make $100,000 as a presenter is actually to run workshops of some description. So like a workshop, a seminar, a retreat, a live event where you charge a fee per person in the room. So I don't know if you've actually done any investigation into the average ticket price of an event here in Australia for 4 days of training on any topic. But if you do look around, what you're going to find is that the average ticket price for an event that is 4 days in duration on any topic is around about $3,000 per person in the room. So if you keep that in mind, that the average ticket price in Australia is $3,000, then in order for you to get to your $100,000, you roughly have to train like 33 to 34 participants, right? So let's just say it's 36. So if you train 36 participants, right, that have all paid approximately $3,000 to be at your program for a 4-day event, then you end up cracking your $100,000 a year. Now, if we break that down across the year, right? So if we break it, so you've got 36 people paying $3,000. We break it down across the year, it works out at just 3 people a month. So out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, you need to present your content to just 3 people a month. And if 3 people a month come to your event, every month you've made up $100,000. So the question then is, if I gave you a full month of your life, do you believe that you could go out there and find just 3 people to come along to your workshop and listen to what you have to talk about and engage in your content? I mean, if you had a full month, do you think you could do that? The reality is, I guarantee that you'll be able to find 3 people, right, given a month. Now, if you did that every month for 12 months, then you're speaking to 3 people, 3 people, 3 people, 3 people, running these 4-day events every month. Then, of course, you make $100,000. But the reality is, speaking to 3 people at a time every month, that's not very leveraged, right? So that's not a leveraged income. And I want to explain the benefits of a leveraged income. So I don't think that's very leveraged, right? And probably you don't. You know, speaking to 3 people every month for 4 days every month, it's not leveraged. But here's the suggestion. What if we get all 36 people in the room at the same time? So we get all 36 people in the room for the same 4 days. What you end up doing in that instance is making $100,000 for that 4-day event. That's $25,000 a day. And all you needed to find was 36 people that are interested in your topic, that want to learn, that want to immerse themselves in a workshop or a retreat or a program. And you've done it. You've done it in 4 days. So here's the thing I want to point out to you. If you just made, right, $100,000 in 4 days talking about what you absolutely love, and you did this in January, right? So it's January, you got $100,000 in the bank. You've just done 4 days work, you felt inspired and fulfilled and energized. Question, what are you going to do in February? Now, you may be thinking like, well, Ben, I'll go to Bora Bora. Ben, I'll fly around the world. I'll travel to Bali. I'll go on that holiday I've always dreamed of. And sure, maybe you'll think about that for a short moment. But then the reality is going to hit in. You just made $100,000 in January doing 4 days work talking about what you love. So what I think you're going to find yourself doing in February, having asked people all over Australia and throughout the world this exact question, what would you do in February? And of course you hear them, oh, Ben, I'd go on a 9-month holiday, I'd go to the beach, I'd sit back in a hammock. But the fact is this, that's not what you would do. If you just made $100,000 sharing your message, doing what you love, inspiring people, giving value to people, hearing the people in your room expressing how much value they got from you, the changes they've made in their lives, getting emails about all the testimonials of the impact you've been having in their lives, and you start to feel what that feels like, to be an inspiration, to be a change maker, to know that you're actually doing something that is transforming people's lives, I promise you that when February rocks around, you're running the event again. Of course you are. You just made $100,000 and you felt fantastic and you did something good in the world, changing people's lives. So I promise you that most people, right, listening to me now, will run the event again in February. And here's the thing. If you run the event, right, every month with 36 people in it for an entire year, you ready for this? You end up with $1.2 million. Now say it again, $1.2 million in gross revenue from presenting what you love. So can you make $100,000 a year as a presenter? You can make over $1 million a year by just training 36 people a month at the average price of workshops here in Australia and throughout the world, dare I say it. So to get to $1 million a year from presenting, you've really just got to find 36 people a month that come along to your workshops. That's it. And you've made $1 million. So I just wanted to show you the maths behind all of this so you can understand how you can actually get to $100,000 a year. And so you can now appreciate that professional speaking, as in speaking to the general public, right, in rooms full of people or in Zooms full of people, is without a doubt one of the highest paid professions out there. And you don't need a university degree, you don't need a diploma, you don't need any sort of certificates. You just need a topic you're passionate about and then the acquisition of the skills that allow you to bring that topic to life. In fact, we regularly have clients that we've worked with in being able to put together their presentations and then rehearse and practice those presentations, take those presentations into the marketplace and actually have what we call a six-figure day. What does a six-figure day mean? It means that you earn more than $100,000 in a single day. So all I'm trying to say is get your brain opening up to the incomprehensible. Get your brain trying to fathom that which you currently can't fathom. Now, obviously not everybody does that. That's not how it works. Not everybody achieves a six-figure day, but this is something that is definitely possible, and it's possible for you. And we've actually had a couple of people that we've trained make $1 million in a single day. So I just want you to really process that. Could you imagine getting up in the morning and then a couple of hours later, you have made $1 million in revenue? So I just want to say it's really important for you to realize that not only are these figures totally fathomable, they are also achievable once you know the process. And look, what I've just explained to you is exactly what people follow. And I wanted to explain it to you so we can actually demystify why the speaking industry is such a highly paid profession. And to sum it up, it's because it's a leveraged income. So next time someone is explaining to you the concept behind professional speaking and they're explaining some of the figures in the revenues that speakers make, hopefully now you can actually realize the mathematics behind it. And now I hope you realize that you're getting paid for the number of people's lives that you impact at the same time. So you're not getting paid time for money, you're getting paid for the amount of value that you share in the same time. And obviously the more people that receive your value in the same moment in time, the more valuable you are. I'm going to say it again, the more people that receive your value in the same moment in time, the more valuable you are. And that is why public speaking is one of the highest paid professions on planet Earth. I got a bonus for you, because if you've watched this video, I can probably make 2 assumptions about you. And I know people don't like having assumptions made about them, but hear me out. Assumption number 1, you're a genuine person that wants to help change people's lives. And what I mean by that, you actually want to go out there and do work that's both fulfilling and gives you financial abundance. And number 2, you're a fellow learner. Like maybe you've watched a lot of YouTube videos, maybe you've read a whole bunch of books, or maybe you've read a whole bunch of blogs, maybe you've attended a bunch of courses or listened to heaps of different podcasts. But I have a question. I want you to really consider this. Wouldn't it be nice? Actually, scratch that. Wouldn't it be great if you could actually get paid for all the self-education you have ever done? Think about that. Getting paid for all of your learning. Well, the good news is you can. Because the good news is, over the last few years, there has been a massive shift towards creating a more financially stable and fulfilling stream of income just by sharing your knowledge. I want you to imagine this. Imagine getting paid handsomely to help people change their lives on any topic that you love talking about. Like maybe you love mindset, or you love wellness, or you love mental health, or you love relationships, or you love money, or you love parenting. It doesn't make a difference. The reality is now you can do something with that knowledge. In fact, the reality is it is possible for you to make a difference and a living doing what you love by sharing your knowledge through methods like coaching, which I'm sure you've heard of, consulting, Zoom events, online courses, workshops, retreats. The list goes on. And here's the thing. If you doubt yourself, or you don't even have any clarity of what your passion is, do not be concerned. You know, quite often when people watch these kind of videos, they often think to themselves, but who the heck's going to listen to me? Like, do I really have skills or qualifications that anyone's going to value? Or worse yet, I've got no experience doing this. Where could I even begin the whole process? Well, there's just 3 things. There's just 3 things that you need to be able to do in order to do what you love. And you might want to write these down. Number 1, you need the right package. So you need to get clear right now on your true passion, the ideal person that you actually want to help, and then package up what you know. And I promise you, you know a lot more than you think you do. And you get all of that and you put it into an offer that actually helps people. Number 2, you need the right conversation. If you want people to be interested in your services, then you have to learn how do you actually go about getting people's attention? And more importantly, how do you hold it? And then once you have the attention, how do you actually inspire people to buy? That's critically important, and that's the right conversation. And number 3 is the right presentation. If you want to go out there and actually share your message with the world, people think you need hundreds of different presentations. You don't. You just need one great presentation, because the right presentation actually allows you to grow. So it allows you to go from this one-to-one delivery style, like one-on-one sessions, to this one-to-many. And you can do this by delivering things like workshops or group coaching or online courses. And this is really what is required. Now, there is an entire process around this that I've been teaching people since 2009. That's a very long time ago. And it obviously takes a lot more than this quick video for you to see the exact steps of how it can actually work for you as well. And that's actually why I created an upcoming free online course called Prosper from Your Passion, Sharing Your Knowledge Online. Now, at the course, I'm actually going to show you step by step the exact method for creating a heart-centered business doing what you love. Not what everyone else is telling you, but what you love. And I got to assure you, there's no fluff. There's none of this boring filler content. It's just practical steps that you can follow, and it comes complete with a 50-page manual, exercises during the program, and a bunch of live demonstrations throughout the course. Now, this course is for you if you're curious about how you might be able to turn what you love into what you do, or if you're a coach, a course creator, or a service provider that wants to grow their business, or you might just be looking for a career change, or you might be all 3, right? In case we haven't met, my name's Benjamin J. Harvey, and I'm actually the co-founder of Authentic Education, a 2-time AFR award-winning education company. And whenever you watch these videos, you're wondering, can I really be confident that I'm going to get the results? And I can assure you, you can. Because since 2009, I've trained thousands of people in over 21 different countries around the world. And I've been fortunate enough to work with the likes of Dr. John Demartini and John Asra from the hit movie The Secret. And this message that I'm sharing with you right now has been featured in numerous media publications. In fact, the Huffington Post called us Australia's leading training company, helping people do what they love. Now, at the upcoming course, you'll be learning the 3-step process that I have perfected that you can follow to start living the life of your dreams. And if you want to see the exact steps of how this works, just click the link. Do it. Click the link near this video. Just move your finger and click it, or the mouse or whatever. And in case you're wondering, look, why is it free, right? The elephant in the room, why is it free? Look, I want to be really upfront with you. It's free because we use freemium marketing. So just like Zoom and Gmail and Spotify are free, we deliver great value for free, and a small percentage of people who want more will decide to purchase the premium version of our courses. So it ends up being a win-win for everyone. But don't worry. Right? This will not be a day of selling or skimming across the surface with boring theories. I hate those programs as much as you. In fact, if you've been to any of our courses since 2009, you will know it is going to be an engaging and highly practical program that is actually full of exactly what you need to do in order to put all the pieces together to ensure that you yourself can prosper from your passion, sharing your knowledge online. So, if you'd like to explore the possibility of creating a heart-centered business, or you'd like to learn more, or you'd like to grab a free ticket, then simply click the link near this video. Are you still watching? Look, give me a second. Did I mention that this thing is free? Did I mention that it's online? The reality is whenever you watch these videos, you've got nothing to lose. You really don't. And you have a lot to gain. But I want you to imagine a life where you can actually have all the travel, all the fulfillment, all the financial freedom that you actually deserve. And if you'd like to start the process of exploring the possibility, then click the link near this video and I'll see you at the event.